to V3.0 of our Meetup. Who's here for the first time? Show of hands. Wow, that's actually a lot. It's good. So just have a few moments from me before we hand off to the two different presenters tonight. For those that haven't attended the first two, it's been me and someone else. So this time, thankfully, for my sake and maybe your sake, it's not me for either of the sessions. But in terms of agenda, so we're going to start with a quick welcome housekeeping. I've kind of already given a bit on the housekeeping. Just briefly talk about the survey results. I sent a little survey around probably about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, just on what people were interested in hearing. So as I mentioned, we've listened, and the main topic tonight, at least, or both topics, are on Angular JS. Obviously, I'm sure you know that. I've got a couple of announcements which I'll mention as well, and then we'll jump straight into the presentations. So in terms of housekeeping, feel free, I'm actually not presenting, so maybe you as presenters don't want that, but feel free to ask questions, obviously, throughout. Of course, as presenters, if it's a long-winded answer or something, or they want to park it, of course, they'll do that. We'll also have a little bit of time at the end for Q&A as well, so, feel free to hold off if it's a big question, or you want to take it offline with the presenter, obviously fine too. Restrooms already mentioned, just to reiterate, back corner there, make sure you just take a key so you don't get locked in. And drinks, if you want to drink anytime, just in the big yellow fridge down there. I think there's actually some more beers. I think they might have stocked them up, so we're good on that front. In terms of the recent survey, obviously it was a very simple, trivial survey. It was just kind of one question. What do you want to see out of a sort of subset of topics? And what won out was the one at the top, single-page web application, or singular, with Angular JS, problems and solutions. So we've got that coming up in a moment. They were actually level for a long time, because I was kind of dipping into the survey monkey the survey every kind of other day while the poll was going on, and they were level neck and neck for a little while, but then Angular won out. So we'll probably do this at a future date. I was out of interest. Anyone do anything with React? Has anyone played with React at all? Okay, because I'm keen to see a presentation. There's obviously tons of presentations online and stuff, but did anyone see the announcement today about React Native? Pretty amazing, right? So for those that didn't see it, and I only just glimpsed it, I didn't dip in deeply, but you can now use React to compile native applications, iOS and Android to start with, but over time it'll be even more. So, and it's no web views or anything. It's actually compiling down to pure native code using React. So it's kind of caused a big kind of ripple. So we'll see how it plays out. But either way, I'm keen to just get up to, given that announcement or given that thing, I'm keen to start playing with React a bit more. So if anyone was interested in presenting on that or talking about it, feel free to reach out. So as I say, probably next time we'll do something on this, and then there's obviously plenty of other topics. So we've got a bigger list than this, which I'll perhaps recirculate after tonight. Just a few announcements. I've got the domain hongkongjs.com, and I was actually keen to set up like a little working group on HKJS so we can do some interesting stuff with it. If you go to it right now, it's just a vanilla bootstrap landing page with lorem ipsum, so obviously nothing there. And if anyone's interested, feel free to reach out and we can build it together. I've got the GitHub org set up for HKJS as well, so that project's up there. So it's something we could kind of collectively build together. Some of the things I just threw down, just brainstorm myself momentarily while putting these slides together. We could put like job postings, link sharing, specifically on related links and to JavaScript and web development and so on. One thing I'm thinking of maybe doing at a future meetup is as part of the presentations or before the presentations, just getting someone to share their toolbox or the stack of things they work with, because that's actually quite interesting, because there's obviously increasing numbers of both frameworks, different stacks, different command line utilities like Bower, Yeoman, etc., etc. So just getting, it's good to discover new stuff, because obviously it's a huge landscape of things now. So I thought that's maybe something we could, allow people to upload their stacks or the technology, stacks that they work with, and it could be quite interesting, as well as presenting it as well, maybe as a kind of 5 or 10 minute segment at the start of future meetups would be quite interesting alongside the presentations. And then just general news and so on. So if anyone's interested in kind of building this together, I've actually stubbed out more than what's up there right now. So I used Yeoman and the Angular full stack generator. So that's ready to go, and I've actually got a pretty good thing ready to go, but it's very vanilla right now. And I was actually thinking of doing it in Material. Has anyone played with Material? So I was actually thinking of using Material just because I haven't used it for anything real yet. So yeah, I put my email address at the bottom there if anyone's interested. Another announcement, if anyone's interested in teaching in Kuala Lumpur, if you are a teacher or instructor or interested in doing that, one of my friends, she's the CEO of this thing, and I was actually doing a lot to help them get off the ground. And it's kind of a government top-down initiative. They put a lot of money behind it to build, or try and build Malaysia as a hub, a technology hub. And it was launched by the Prime Minister of Malaysia and Barack Obama last year, and I was there for for the launch. It's quite interesting, and they're doing pretty well already. They got getting interesting traction domestically within Malaysia. And Cheryl, the CEO, is a good friend of mine, and she I knew her from the States, and she sold a company in the States and kind of got headhunted to go back to Malaysia because she didn't really want to go back. But she's doing good stuff to disrupt it and doing like partnerships with like 500 startups and all these kind of cool stuff. So they'd obviously pay for you to teach. They'd pay for your flights over there, pay for your accommodation and so on. So if anyone's interested, just again, email me. And then lastly, I'm actually putting together a little workshop because I've had quite a few people reach out to me about doing it on kind of intermediate web development. So I teach front-end web development through the General Assembly and other channels. And I was putting together a 2-day workshop for approximately the end of Feb. I already got some folks taking it, but if anyone else is interested, just let me know. And it'll be more kind of, if you are a junior to kind of beginner, intermediate developer, and that's like a subjective thing, obviously, it'll be more to kind of take you to that next level. So a lot of these more sophisticated, advanced tools, workflows, more sophisticated frameworks, particularly tooling as well, because I think that's an area that when you start out you don't really get to grips with straight away, and it can add so much value for those that have used Yeoman and Bower and all these other things. I mean, they just speed up and increase quality and all that. So I'll be focusing on a bit on those. So again, if you're interested in that, let me know. And I think that's it. Cool. So any kind of questions, housekeeping, or comments before we jump in? Okay, and we'll have a little bit of time at the end for Q&A. So with that, I'll hand over to Juri to talk through single-page web applications with Angular problems and solutions. So I'll just hand over.